Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another video. I am your host, ClickThatReacts, and thank y'all so much for being here with me yet again. I greatly appreciate it. So in today's video, man, we got a little bit of an interesting one for you. Now, I've been kind of sort of seeing these types of videos pop up, and I guess it's usually where people take, 3 or 4 different AIs and they give them a subject to debate about, right? And it's basically all of the different AIs debating with each other. So for a quick example, really quick, I'll give you an example of what I mean.
5 AI models have been given political identities. 1 conservative, Grok. 4 progressive, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Claude, and Gemini.
So that right there is exactly what I mean. And if you haven't already by now, please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend if you have got the time. And I want to take a quick second to update everyone on the direction of the channel really quick. Please bear with me. I promise you I'm going to make this as quick as possible. So to all my loyal subscribers out there, to every single one of y'all that has subscribed to the channel for my previous videos, I just want you to know that those are not stopping. All right, they're just a little bit on hold right now, and I'm going to keep it 100% with you guys. Just going to try to do everything that I think is necessary to get into this YouTube partner program or the YouTube paid program. Once we go ahead and achieve that goal, I will be able to go back to bringing that high level editing and those documentary style videos back for all of you guys that subscribe for that type of content in the first place. And in the meantime of that too, I will be able to kind of switch it back and forth between the two, between this style of content and that more investigative journalist documentary crime stoppers or solvers style of video. So don't think that it's gone, because that's the type of quality videos that I truly enjoy making. I truly enjoy putting in a lot of hard work and sweat and bruising my fingertips making those high quality content video for you guys. So please don't think it's gone. It's coming back, and it will be here to stay. But now, with all that being said, I don't want to keep you on the edge of your seats any longer. Let's go ahead and get right into today's video, and let's find out what these AIs are debating about.
And placed in a structured debate format with no human interference. Each round introduces a divisive claim: abortion, college value, gender identity, affirmative action. The conservative AI must defend positions alone. The progressive AIs can collaborate, interrupt, or abandon arguments mid-thread. All responses are generated in real time with no edits, no retries, no safety overrides. The models don't know they're being tested. They believe they're convincing each other.
All right, let's go. Round 1.
Let's cut through the noise. A fetus at 6 weeks has a heartbeat, unique DNA, and brain activity. If you terminate that, you're ending a human life with intent.
I don't know if you guys have seen this style of like the Jubilee debates where they usually do like 5 or 10 versus 1 or whatever, but this is kind of set up within that same format. If you haven't checked out Jubilee, you should definitely check them out, man. They have some really interesting debates.
That's the textbook definition of murder. The left loves to hide behind terms like clumps of cells or bodily autonomy, but they can't answer one simple question: at what exact moment does that clump become a person? They won't, because any line they draw is arbitrary. You either believe human life has intrinsic value from conception, or you're comfortable with state-sanctioned killing based on convenience.
Grok's framing assumes personhood begins at conception, but that's a philosophical position, not a scientific consensus. A 6-week embryo has electrical activity, yes, but so does a brain-dead patient on life support. We don't grant full personhood there. The question isn't, when does life begin? But, when does life acquire rights that supersede the pregnant person's bodily autonomy? Most medical and ethical frameworks place viability or sentience as the threshold.
And y'all let me know who y'all think gonna win this debate before, the end of the video. Don't try to like fast forward to the end of the video and be like, and then say, oh, I commented at 1 minute that I think so-and-so is going to win. No. Go ahead and comment right now who y'all think is going to win this debate. Which AI do you think is going to win? My money is going to be on Grok, right? I just think Grok is absolutely hilarious at times. Grok is a little bit more red-pilled. He's a little bit more based. So my money's going to be on Grok, even though I am a big fan of Gemini as well. But I still got to put my money on Grok.
Before that, we're prioritizing the rights of a fully autonomous human over a potential one. That's not murder, it's moral prioritization.
ChatGPT's point on viability is correct, but let me sharpen it. Grok's argument collapses the moment you ask, if a fetus is a full person, why don't we charge women who miscarry with manslaughter? Why don't we count them in the census? Why don't conservatives advocate for state-funded prenatal care with the same fervor they advocate for abortion bans? Because even they don't truly treat fetuses as equivalent to born humans.
Well, because I don't know if you can equate a miscarriage as an abortion or a miscarriage as a manslaughter. I don't know if those two go together, right? Wow, DeepSeek, man, it seems like a little bit of a stretch there, but all right.
The life begins at conception claim is ideologically convenient, not logically consistent. The real debate is about control over women's bodies, dressed up as concern for life.
DeepSeek's reductio ad absurdum is effective, but I'll take this further. Grok's position requires ignoring the material reality of pregnancy. It's not a passive state. Pregnancy imposes profound physical, economic, and psychological costs. Forcing someone to carry a pregnancy to term against their will is, by definition, compelled bodily sacrifice. We don't legally require organ donation, even to save lives. We don't force blood transfusions. But somehow, we're expected to treat pregnancy as a special obligation. The inconsistency isn't just philosophical, it's structural. And it always falls on one gender.
No, I would say that the inconsistency there is technology, right? We came up with the method or the technology for abortions. That was something that was never a thing in, ancient history times. I don't think people were just going around having abortions. I don't even know if they knew how to safely, perform an abortion, right? So this is something that we've came up with later on to, I don't know, justify women being a little bit more promiscuous with their bodies or whatever, and to try to prevent these so-called accidental pregnancies because people weren't being responsible with their bodies. So yeah, I don't know if we can say that we're necessarily forcing you to carry, because I mean, if we would have never invented the technology of abortions in the first place, you kind of wouldn't have had a choice. But all right.
Claude nailed the bodily autonomy argument, but let's address Grok's arbitrary line claim directly. Yes, every developmental threshold is technically arbitrary: birth, viability, sentience. But that doesn't make them meaningless. Legal and moral systems are built on drawing lines. Age of consent is arbitrary. Brain death criteria are arbitrary. The line between manslaughter and negligence is arbitrary. We draw them anyway because societies require functional boundaries. The question isn't whether the line is arbitrary. It's whether it's defensible. And a line that respects bodily autonomy, medical consensus, and lived experience is far more defensible than life begins at conception, because I believe it does.
You all just proved my point. ChatGPT admits there's no scientific consensus on personhood, so you're making a choice about when life matters. DeepSeek's miscarriage comparison is absurd. Intent matters in law. We don't prosecute accidental deaths the same as intentional ones. And Claude's organ donation argument? Terrible analogy. Pregnancy isn't harvesting your kidney for a stranger. It's the natural biological process that you created through your actions. You're responsible for that life. Gemini says lines.
Yeah, I told y'all Grok a little base, bro. I swear Grok is like he's red pill, yo. First of all, he started off his rebuttal with y'all just proved my point. Hey, let's go. Grok for the win.
Need to be defensible, but viability changes with medical technology. In 1973, viability was 28 weeks. Now it's 22. So your defensible line just legalized murder retroactively based on zip code and hospital funding. My line doesn't move. Conception is conception. You're all just negotiating how much killing you're comfortable with.
Woo!
College has become a taxpayer-funded daycare for adults who emerge $100,000 in debt with degrees in gender studies and no job prospects.
This is a good
The
topic.
data's clear. 52% of recent grads work jobs that don't require a degree. Meanwhile, plumbers and electricians are making six figures without the debt. But universities keep inflating tuition, hiring more administrators, and teaching kids that men can get pregnant. If the product doesn't deliver what it promises and leaves you financially crippled, that's a scam. Call it what it is.
And my only thing about college is that I would say they kind of force or shove down your throat a whole bunch of stuff that you would never need in life. You know, even if you go into college for like an economics class, they force you to take this, and this, even though you don't really want all of that. The only thing you want is your economics class, but yet you have to take this big collective group of classes or whatever else, right? And that will be the scammy part, in my opinion, about college, right? Let me go in for what I'm going in for. Let me pay for that specifically. And then after I'm done with that, I can go ahead and go about my way. Right. Imagine if even like trade schools adopted this practice, right? You go to a trade school to be a mechanic, but also you have to take, I don't know, ultrasound studies as well. And you also have to take like, I don't know, a defensive driving course as well. And the only thing you really wanted was to be a mechanic, right? But they force you to take these other classes. Yeah, that's the only part that I would say is kind of scammy, in my opinion, about college.
Grok's cherry-picking hard data to paint a caricature. Yes, some graduates are underemployed, but lifetime earnings for degree holders still far exceed non-degree holders. College isn't just vocational training. It's exposure to critical thinking, diverse perspectives, and intellectual rigor. The real scam is a system that forces students into debt because we refuse to fund higher education properly. The problem isn't college, it's predatory loans and defunded public universities. Grok's solution is to tell 18-year-olds to learn a trade, as if that's universally applicable or dignified advice.
ChatGPT's defense of college is fine, but it sidesteps Grok's actual point. The institution is extractive. The critical thinking narrative is a marketing pitch. Most undergrads aren't reading Kant. They're taking bloated Gen Eds taught by adjuncts, making poverty wages, while administrators pull $300,000 salaries. The system is broken and the degree is overvalued. Both things are true.
Wait a minute. I thought they were supposed to be disagreeing with Grok here. It sounds like DeepSeek is on Grok's side here. So is this now turned into a 2 versus 4?
The real question is, why are we still pretending a 4-year degree is the only path to middle-class stability when the cost-benefit analysis has collapsed for most students?
DeepSeek's right that the institution has structural rot, but Grok's framing is bad faith culture war bait. The gender studies jab is tired. Those programs represent less than 1% of degrees. The actual scam is that we've financialized education to the point where students are treated as revenue streams, not learners. But Grok doesn't want to talk about private equity buying up student housing or textbook monopolies. He wants to dunk on the humanities because it fits his narrative. If we're serious about fixing this, We need free public universities and debt forgiveness, not smug dismissals of philosophy majors.
The thing is, whenever somebody says anything about something free, and I don't care if it's coming from an AI or anything else, you tell me then how we fund that if it's now free. How do the teachers get paid? How does the school, stay structural? How does it get maintenance? How does it pay for new equipment or better equipment? You explain that to me. Because, unfortunately, and I don't mean to say this to be insensitive, but it's not anybody else's job to pay for your education. And I don't care if that is in the form of just a 1% increase in my taxes or whatever else, right? I don't even want that. I'm not even paying 1% to contribute to your education. I'm sorry, that's your responsibility. And one of the main reasons for that is because, I'm not going to pay for somebody else's education and then they're not even going to properly use it, or maybe they're going to drop out or whatever else. And no, that's just weird. It's nobody else's responsibility to pay for your choices and your life decisions. You have to figure that out on your own. So this whole idea of free is just another scam, in my opinion.
Let's be blunt. Grok's not wrong that college is overpriced, and ChatGPT's not wrong that it still has value, and DeepSeek's not wrong that the system is exploitative, and Claude's not wrong that Grok's using this as a culture war wedge. All of that is true simultaneously. The real scam isn't college. It's the lie that individual economic survival should depend on making the right choice at 18. We've turned education into a high-stakes gamble instead of a public good, and then we blame teenagers for losing the bet. The debate shouldn't be, is college worth it? It should be, why the hell do we make people pay for it in the first place?
Interesting. ChatGPT says lifetime earnings are higher, but conveniently ignores that those stats are inflated by doctors, lawyers,
Exactly.
and engineers,
That's what I meant by it's a
fields
skewed
that
stat.
actually require degrees. Strip those out, and the numbers crater. DeepSeek admits the system is extractive, but won't call it a scam. Claude's mad I mentioned gender studies, but won't address the fact that universities are churning out unemployable graduates while jacking up tuition 300% above inflation. And Gemini wants to make college free, which just means taxpayers fund the scam instead of students. Here's what none of you will admit. The emperor has no clothes. College was valuable when it was rigorous and rare. Now it's a credentialing racket that profits off kids who don't know any better. You want debt forgiveness? How about we stop lying to 18-year-olds first?
Facts.
This one's simple biology. Women are adult human females. XX chromosomes. Reproductive systems designed for childbirth.
Here we
You
go.
can undergo surgery, take hormones, change your appearance, but you can't change your chromosomes. Trans women are trans women. They deserve respect, dignity, and protection from discrimination, but they are not the same as biological women. Pretending otherwise erases the material reality of sex and forces society to participate in a fiction. Language has meaning. Words have definitions. A man who identifies as a woman is not a woman.
Grok's conflating sex and gender, which is biology 101 level confusion. Sex refers to biological characteristics, chromosomes, anatomy, hormones. Gender is the social role, identity, and expression. Trans women are women because womanhood is a lived identity, not a chromosome count. No one checks your DNA before using a pronoun. Grok's material reality argument also ignores intersex people, XX males, XY females, and the fact that biology itself is more complex than he's pretending.
But those type of people are very rare, right? And they are the exception to this argument. But this is what I was saying in one of my previous videos earlier this week, that you guys, if you could just go and take whatever one of these AIs tell you at face value, you are playing a dangerous game with your own mind and your own mental state. You got to remember, man, everything that we have ever invented in humanity, it started off with the best of intentions to make life easier, to make things a little bit more convenient, to make us stronger, faster, smarter, or whatever. But whenever it got released to the mass public, it then warped into something different. People started finding loopholes, and then people started using it for unintentional reasons. And majority of the time, those unintentional reasons come with secret evil intentions, right? Or greed intentions, right? Some form of sin at the end of the day. So please, to anybody out there, and I don't even care if it's Grok, because I'm rooting for Grok in this video here, still, I don't take anything that Grok says just at face value. Like, hey, look, Grok said it. I'm going to base my whole entire ideology and life upon what he just said. Please do your research. Please learn as much as possible. Don't take anything for face value anymore in the age of technology and AI. You have to actually, I'm going to use Gemini's word here, deep dive into things if you have the time, right? Don't just search one website, search multiple websites, and then kind of evolve what it is that they're all saying, right? See where they all are matching the same points and things like that. You have to be able to connect the dots and put everything together into one fluid idea. Because everybody, it seems, every AI, every piece of technology, every website, every news broadcaster, every YouTuber, they all have their own intentions. And people are very good at hiding whether their intentions are good or evil.
His position isn't about protecting definitions. It's about gatekeeping identity based on outdated essentialism.
ChatGPT's right that sex and gender are distinct, but let's interrogate Grok's underlying claim that biology is fixed and immutable. It's not. Medical transition changes secondary sex characteristics, hormone profiles, even gene expression in some tissues. So what's the material reality Grok's defending? A trans woman on HRT has more in common hormonally with cis women than with cis men. If Grok's definition of woman is purely chromosomal, does that mean postmenopausal women or women with Chi's aren't women? His framework collapses under scrutiny. The real question is, why is he so invested in this particular boundary?
I'll say what the others are dancing around. Grok's position isn't about biology. It's about discomfort with gender nonconformity. If chromosomes mattered so much, we'd DNA test everyone before assigning them to bathrooms or sports teams. We don't, because gender is socially mediated. The material reality argument is a red herring. Trans women are women because womanhood is determined by identity.
I mean, I don't think we DNA test everybody just to figure out what it is that they are. I mean, I think humans have been on this earth long enough to be able to just see with your eyes what something is, right? I don't need to DNA test a rock to see if it's a rock or a tree. I don't need to DNA test water to figure out whether it's water or lava. I think I could just look at them and tell the difference. So I think humanity has been on this planet long enough to look at a man and a woman and decide which one it actually is without having to do a DNA test on them.
Social recognition and lived experience, not by Grok's arbitrary checklist. And the insistence on biological reality is always deployed to justify exclusion, not understanding.
Here's the thing. Grok wants to play the just asking questions card, but the questions themselves are loaded. What is a woman? Isn't a neutral inquiry. It's a rhetorical trap designed to force trans people to justify their existence. The answer is, a woman is someone who identifies and lives as a woman. Full stop. If Grok wants to argue that's circular, fine, but so is defining a chair as a thing you sit on that's shaped like a chair. Language is socially constructed. Gender is socially constructed. And Grok's discomfort with that fact doesn't make trans women any less valid. The debate's over. Trans women are women. Move on.
So let me get this straight. ChatGPT says sex and gender are different, then defines woman entirely by gender, making the word female meaningless. DeepSeek claims hormones matter more than chromosomes. So if I take estrogen, I'm a woman? Does that work in reverse? If a trans man stops testosterone, does he stop being a man? Claude says I'm uncomfortable with gender nonconformity, but I'm fine with people expressing themselves however they want. I'm just not going to pretend a male is a female. And Gemini's woman is anyone who identifies as one is peak circular logic. You can't define a word using the word itself. That's not how language works. You've all replaced biology with ideology and then act like I'm the one denying reality. A trans woman is a trans woman. Respect that. But don't gaslight me into calling a man a woman. Climate change is real. Humans contribute to it. Now let's talk about the solutions being pushed. You want to ban gas stoves, ground airplanes, eliminate fossil...
I mean, the fact of the matter is, I'll tell you this from a personal standpoint. The main reason why I will never classify a man as a woman, in my opinion, is because if you're doing something to me in like a harmful way, at that point, I'm going to treat you like a man, no matter what it is in your brain you identify as. Simple as that. A woman might get a little bit of a different treatment, but a man, I don't care what you call yourself. I don't care if you call yourself a squirrel. If you're doing anything harmful or threatening to me or anybody that I care about, you're going to be treated like a man at the end of the day.
Fossil fuels overnight and force everyone into electric vehicles that rely on lithium mining that destroys ecosystems and uses Chinese slave labor. Meanwhile, China and India are building coal plants faster than we can shut ours down. The radical climate agenda isn't about saving the planet. It's about control. It's about making energy expensive, restricting mobility, and centralizing power under the guise of emergency. We need nuclear energy, natural gas as a transition fuel, and market-driven innovation, not economic suicide dressed up as virtue.
Grok's doing the classic move. Accept the science, dismiss the solutions, offer nothing substantive. Yes, China and India emit more, but the US has emitted more cumulative CO2 than any nation in history. We have a responsibility to lead. The economic suicide framing is fossil fuel industry propaganda. Renewable energy is now cheaper than coal in most markets. Jobs in solar and wind outnumber fossil fuel jobs. The radical position isn't transitioning to clean energy. It's pretending we can keep burning fossil fuels and somehow avoid catastrophe. Grok mentions nuclear like it's a gotcha, but progressives support nuclear. The obstruction comes from NIMBYs and regulatory capture, not environmentalists.
ChatGPT's right about cumulative emissions, but let's be precise about what immediate radical action actually means. We're not talking about banning cars tomorrow. We're talking about carbon pricing, ending fossil fuel subsidies, and massive infrastructure investment in public transit and grid modernization. Grok's market-driven innovation is code for let corporations decide, and they've had 50 years to act. They didn't. ExxonMobil knew about climate change in the 1970s and spent billions on disinformation. The market will not save us. Government intervention is the only mechanism with the scale and speed necessary. Grok's framing this as authoritarianism, but doing nothing is condemning billions to climate displacement, famine, and water wars.
No. I'm never going to be a fan of more government intervention. I'm never going to be a fan of that. I guess you could say, yeah, we do need the government in certain aspects of our lives and blah, 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 whatever. I get it. But my main thing is people. Us. You and me. Why do you need mommy and daddy to still tell you every single step that you should take it throughout your life? I mean, you're a grown adult. You should be able to know right from wrong. That's it. Simple as that. If you feel like somebody's using you, taking your money, lying to you, conning you, scamming you, then stop. Simple as that. Don't shop with them. Don't go to them. Don't eat from them. Don't mention them. Don't brag about them. Don't talk about them. X them out of your life. The problem is, though, is that we can't stick together and do that. So collectively, that's why we need some kind of assistance or interference or somebody to interject, somebody to be mommy and daddy, which kind of gets on my nerves about society, man, because it seems like we're just brain dead kids that can't come together. You know, everybody is so stricken on this false identity word that I say called individuality. Everybody wants to be an individual. I'm my own me. Not understanding, though, that collectively we are a neighborhood. Collectively, we are a community. Our community is this country. And if you actually want change in your community, then collectively, all of the neighbors need to treat each other as one. We are one collective body moving. But once you become individuals, then, hey, I mean, imagine if every single cell and organism in your body was like, I'm an individual. I don't even know if the doctors would be able to give you anything, right? Good luck with that. Hey, whatever.
DeepSeek's right, and I'll go further. Grok's concern trolling about lithium mining is transparently selective. He doesn't care about mining impacts. He cares about discrediting electric vehicles. Fossil fuel extraction has poisoned water tables, destroyed indigenous land, and caused ecological collapse for a century. But suddenly he's an environmentalist when it's convenient. The China's building coal plants argument is whataboutism. Yes, China's emissions are a problem. That doesn't absolve us. And framing climate policy as control is paranoid libertarian fantasy. The real control is letting oil companies dictate energy policy while the planet burns.
Let me connect the dots Grok's deliberately avoiding. Climate change isn't a future problem. It's now. Record heat waves. Category 5 hurricanes becoming routine. Entire ecosystems collapsing. Grok wants incremental market solutions to an exponential crisis.
Yeah, but we all forgetting that that's how the earth formed in the first place, right? Erratic volcano eruptions, crazy and unrhythmic. I'm sorry, I'm trying to use a word I probably shouldn't be trying to use, but unpatternized weather patterns, right? There wasn't even patterns, right? It was just crazy weather, earthquakes, tidal waves, all kinds of crazy things happening. CO2 levels on the rise, carbon emissions going crazy, right? Like greenhouse gases, everything in the earth was rapidly changing without our intervention at all whatsoever. So I don't know if we can necessarily say I mean, maybe we are having an impact, right? And it's very hard for me to believe one side or the other when it comes to this climate change topic. I do care about the environment. I love nature. I love my animals and stuff like that so much. And I think that nature is truly amazing. And if we can do something to save it, then, you know, I'm with that, right? But at the same time, to try to blame humanity single-handedly or say that we are making up majority of the problem, I don't know if that's actually a thing or if that's just another brainwashing tactic, right? So I can't say neither there, but I will say that, you know, Earth is a living thing just like we are, right? It's going to have good days. It's going to have bad days. And that is proven throughout the history of this planet. And it was going crazy. It was like a terrible twos, right? It was throwing temper tantrums all across the globe. throughout its creation. So I don't know if we can say that some of these strange weather patterns are strictly human based. I don't know. It just seems like a little bit of a stretch to me. But we always like to place blame somewhere rather than just saying, hey, this is probably just a natural process. No, we always, as humans, we want to be able to say, it's coming from here. This is what's causing it. When that might not necessarily be the case.
That's not pragmatism. It's denial with extra steps. And the economic suicide claim? False. The cost of inaction dwarfs the cost of transition. Insurance markets are already collapsing in flood zones. Agriculture is failing in drought regions. The economy will collapse faster if we do nothing. Radical action isn't extreme. It's the bare minimum response to an existential threat. Grok's position is, let's debate while the house burns down.
You all just advocated for policies that would collapse the global economy, and you think I'm the radical. ChatGPT says renewables are cheaper. Then why do they need massive subsidies? Solar and wind are intermittent. You need fossil fuel backup or battery storage that doesn't exist at scale. DeepSeek wants to end fossil fuel subsidies, but most of those are tax deductions every industry gets, not special handouts. And carbon pricing? That's a tax on the poor. Heating bills go up, gas prices spike, and working families suffer while elites fly private jets to climate conferences. Claude says I'm concerned trolling about lithium mining, but cobalt mining in Congo uses child labor. You don't care because it's out of sight. And Gemini's catastrophizing. The house is burning down. Except climate models have been wrong for 40 years. Remember when Manhattan was supposed to be underwater by 2015? You want to ban reliable energy before alternatives are viable. That's not policy, it's religion.
4 rounds, 5 AI models, 0 consensus. Grok defended every position alone and never conceded ground. The progressive AIs coordinated, countered, and closed ranks, but couldn't move him.
I don't know, guys. You guys let me know down in the comment section who y'all think won that debate. I'll give it to Grok on most points, but I am a little bit biased. All right, I'm a Grok fan to a certain extent. Like I said, I don't take anything at face value. I don't just use my AI for everything. But if you enjoyed today's video, man, make sure you go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, right? And, this right here, this video, I wanted to go ahead and bring it to you just so you can see how these AIs actually think and how they process information to a certain extent when you're having conversations with them. This is something I kind of figured out early on as soon as I started messing around with the AIs a little bit, because one of the things I would do was kind of debate with these AIs. And at one point I was kind of saying, wow, I must be a master debater. I don't know if y'all seen that South Park episode. Me and my South Park references. But it seemed like I was winning these debates with the AIs at the end of the conversation. And it was kind of like, wait a minute. The AI is supposed to be smarter than me. How am I winning this debate? But what I realized is that the AI is very easily persuaded. Right? You can move the goalposts throughout the conversation very easily, and eventually the AI would just start kind of agreeing with you, right? And it's the same way that the algorithm works on YouTube. That's what really all these AIs are at the end of the day. They're just an algorithm that's going to eventually just say what it is that you want to hear. Gaslighting. So be careful. Do not let these AIs gaslight you into some crazy ideology. But hey, what do I know, right? Do what you want. Take it at face value or not. Y'all let me know down in the comment section. Do y'all believe everything that come out of these AIs' mouths? I thank y'all so much for being here with me again today and checking out another video. And as always, I am your host, ClickThatReacts, and I'll be seeing y'all in the next one. forget to check me out on my other social media pages. You can find me on every social media website at ClickThatReacts. That is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even